Right, so hello. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my sixth and final track in my portfolio. So it's "Vandalise My Heart." This was the song that was recorded from the Originals gig. We recorded them in the studio, so I'll be using this as my sixth track in my portfolio. Yeah, so today I'll be talking to you about obviously the static mix, the signal to noise ratio, DBFS, dynamic range, headroom, EQ, compression, effects use, Melodyne, automation, obviously what went well, what didn't, and obviously what can be improved. So what I'll do is I'll just give you a little play of the song, and then we'll just talk about it afterwards. Yeah. All right, cool. So that's enough of that. So yeah. So that's the song. We think when we recorded it was quite a big track, so we quite like this song. So let's look at the let's talk about the static mix. So as a group, we used all of this really in our portfolio, and really we mixed it as a group. So there's some parts that I haven't done, and there's some parts that I have done. So what I'll be talking to you, so if there's parts that other people's done, I can only explain what I can see really. So let's talk about the static mix. So obviously the start of the track, it's like an electric drum. So in the live performance it was an electric it was a synth pad, so it was a drum pad, and you can hear it, obviously this. Now what we did was we just basically lowered the volume down because it was extremely loud when playing it. So I'll just put it up to 0. It was just too loud. So we left it down at 10.8. The synths, we've added 2 in, just so we can obviously make it sound bigger, a bit more of a bigger sort of louder sound. And obviously we panned one slightly to the left and one slightly to the right, and obviously drop the volume down quite a bit. We've also added in another synthesizer for the main sort of chorus. This is dropped down quite a bit, I think. So if we listen to it again, yeah, the third synthesizer just adding some little bulk. So like I said, if you look at it, it's just in the middle. So it's just in the middle of the track, and obviously the other two are just obviously panned slightly. It should really be more, if I'm honest with you, pan it more to the left, pan it more really. I think see how that sounds a bit more better rather than just on 22, because it's just all getting bundled up in the middle really. So yeah, I would. So again, really, that can be talked about obviously in the improvements and stuff. So yeah, going on to the bass, we've obviously lowered the bass down. Funny how we've recorded the bass we put no compression on, but we can talk about that later on. The kick in we've left quite big. One thing we've done on this track, so other people have worked on this track, like I said again. There's a lot of other kicks, so we've got 4 kicks going on, which I maybe think is a bit too much, but then the MIDI kicks are giving it some sort of backbone and some sort of power. So what we've done is just lowered the kick out down, and just obviously lowered the this MIDI kick that's playing here. So yeah. So right, we'll move on to the snare. So all we've done with the snare is just literally just lower it down in volume, and the bottom snare we've lowered it down in volume quite a bit as well. I think it's because we're using some MIDI snares to really sort of make the track sound a bit better, because I'm not being funny, the drums in this track when we recorded it didn't sound too great, and recording them were a bit of a hassle anyway, because as we can talk about later, they went out of time ridiculously by some drummer. So yeah, so obviously this is the MIDI drums. So if we play just literally the MIDI snare, you can see how the MIDI snares are making such a difference. I mean, we could probably just get rid of the full drums really, but the only thing is they give a little bit more sort of like you can hear the other drums in the background, so a bit of live sort of drums, so we'll leave those in. Yeah, you can really hear the difference between the MIDI snare and obviously the normal snare. That just sounds so sort of, just hasn't got an oomph to it. With the MIDI snare it gives it a little bit more power. So with the MIDI snares we've just obviously turned those down because they are MIDI and they are quite loud. And obviously we've got the claps. All we've done with the claps is just turn those down. These were the claps that we recorded from our Daft Punk remake, and basically Dan, what he did was he basically changed them around. If we can open up the MIDI, and he basically, so they're not all the same, so they just literally moved around a little. He's changed the velocity of them. We've got five different claps, yeah, and he's just changed around. So we use those. They were the same claps that we recorded in the Daft Punk to give it some sort of, do you know what I mean? So it's not just all sounding the same. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so we go on to like the hi-hats and stuff. So we play the track. We lowered the hi-hat down because it was quite loud and tinny, as you can hear. Put it back up to 0. So yeah, we'll leave that at 12. Obviously the rack tom's been, so they're all lowered down as well. Really could probably up the noise gate. Actually, you can hear a lot of noise in the background. The overheads, we've lowered these down because again they were very sort of, they picked up everything. So again, this is the guitar that's obviously in the middle. We've lowered it down because it was quite sort of loud. The mix, we've got the vocals here. Let's find some vocals. So we've got, we've got 4 different people singing the vocals. If I'm honest with you, they're not the best of singers, as you can hear. So what we've done is we've put 2 of them. We put 2 of them obviously in the middle. For some reason we've stuck 2 of them to the left. Maybe we should really stick one of them to the left and one of them to the right. That's probably what I would do. But off my phone. Get out of my life. Get out of my life. I gotta leave. I can't go on. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Yeah, see, I don't want to be rude, but they're not the greatest of singers, if I'm honest with you. So yeah, all we've done is just literally lowered the volume down in certain singers that we didn't feel that really sound, you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, and with the other channels we've auxiliary, like I said, we've got a reverb channel. We've got a drum channel which we've all sent to. We've also sent the kick out, so the kick out and one of these kicks, so the MIDI kicks to a kick out, and we've sent that somewhere, so it's just different, so we can raise the volume at, because obviously look, it's on plus 1.6 and it was quite low in the mix. We've sent the synths somewhere as well, just so we can add some compression. these are the vocals as well. So really we should name those vocals. Where are the vocals? There we go. So these are just the vocals, yeah. And on top of this, we've got EQs going on. Maybe a bit too many EQs personally, and a compression. So we've got all compression going on this. So the vocals, to be honest with you, are compressed to the absolute max. Right. Let's move on. Let's talk about signal to sound. Signal to noise ratio. So as you can hear, right. So obviously, you go into the rack tom. We'll just play the rack tom. So obviously we've got a noise gate on the rack tom. If we take it off, you can hear all the bleed and see all the feedback, which is not what we want. So yeah, and it's the same with the floor tom as well. So if we take the floor tom off, the noise gate off the floor tom, you can hear all the bleeds and all the background noise, which is not what we want at all. So yeah, we'll leave that on. So yeah, and right, so DBFS. So in the track, it's quite a loud track. Really, I'm trying to find where this sort of can be quiet. Really, probably at this bit. This is probably the quietest bit of the track, and obviously the rest of the track is quite loud and sort of quite punchy and quite poppy. So yeah, right. So the headroom, I feel each channel's got enough headroom. So I mean, none of them are peaking at all. We've lowered the mix down. That's why it probably does sound a bit quiet. Maybe we could probably put a compressor on or a limiter. So where's the logo? There we go. So now we've got sort of the full volume of the track. You know what I mean? So we'll lower that down at the moment while I'm speaking. So yeah, that's the headroom. So I feel, as you can see, playing the track through, you know what I mean, or up to a minute and a half of the track. There's no real sort of peak in the headroom's pretty good. EQ wise, right, so let's go on to this. So we've left the EQ, so these are all the MIDI EQs that we've just left how they came. So the bass, I personally didn't EQ, only EQ'd some of the stuff, some of the channels on here, so I did not EQ the bass. Obviously we've cut out some of the low, I don't know why. We can solo that, yep, right, there we go. Again, it's a bass. Don't know why we've dropped some of the stuff out. Excuse me. So yeah, we've dropped some of the lows out, and obviously we've increased it by 205 hertz, which I don't, which is actually a horrible sound. So I don't know why we've done that. I'm gonna drop that personally because I don't like that. Other people have EQ'd stuff. As it was enjoyable EQing it together and sorting it out together, but there was so many times where we just opened up the arrange page and what someone else did, we changed it. Like Molly went home and EQ'd the drums, and then as soon as we played it, Feast went and EQ'd it again and stuck phaser on and stuff. So really, as a group, we maybe should have probably EQ'd it ourselves. I'm not going to do that now because I don't, I've got other projects and other songs to do, but I think at the moment, the way it's been EQ'd is good, but there's some stuff that I wouldn't do and there's some stuff that I would do. So that's the bass. We'll go on to the kick in, which is, that's pretty big. So again, we've cut out, I don't know why people have done that, I'll take that off because straight away you can hear more sort of the kicking away. This is a bit drastic for my liking really, but I might, mind you, you're getting some of the slap really, so that's pretty good. Close enough, it's 500 hertz. That's extremely drastic, dropping it down that low. I'll just leave it at 4, 5 at max. So yeah. There we go. So we've got the kick out. With this, it's just been, again, why has someone cut out that? I don't know why. It's a kick drum. So we increased that by 100 hertz by +6, and obviously that +6 on 49.5 hertz, and cut this all the way down. That's a bit drastic cut wise. Let's move that to 1K. There you go. Straight away we're hearing more. So we'll leave that at 36. There we go. Right, so that sounds cushy. Again, the MIDI drums we've just literally left how we've got them. So the snare. Wow, this is very interesting. So let's just play through again. So the snare we've somehow, for some reason, dropped out 260 hertz. Let's put this to 500. And let's just put that to 1. And then let's just drop that down by about 5 dB. Again, we'll cut some of that out just a bit. Probably just about there. It's been really slow. There we go. So we'll just, yeah. What we'll do is we'll just find the pop. We'll just there we go. So we've got the pop there. We'll increase that by 6 dB, if that, and there we go, done. So we're going to the bottom snare as well. Wow, the bottom snare maybe a bit too much. Where's the volume on this? Where's the waveforms? Oh right, so I'm looking on the bottom snare, there's no EQ on the bottom snare, so I'm just going to leave it how it is. MIDI snare, same EQs on this, so hi-hat. All we've done is just drop the lows down, got rid of 500 hertz, just cut some of the dirt out really a bit. Yeah, you could probably leave that in. With the rack tom, literally, we've just cut the dirt out from the sides again, and maybe raised it just a bit in the middle. Same with well, not really. You cut some of the lows down from the highest from the floor tom, and yeah, maybe you could probably get rid of that. That's not needed at all. It is a floor tom, and then just increase some of the sort of low mids. Yeah. So let me go on to the overheads. So we'll play the overheads just separately. Wow. I mean, I wouldn't do that, because straight away you've just lost all your sound. So yeah, we'll just leave it, sort of just cut some of the dirt out really, and then we'll go on to the right, so the left overhead as well, which will probably be the same. Yeah, let's just copy that over. So let's click copy, and then let's just paste this in. There we go, done. You can straight away hear more of the drums. So yeah. The guitar, I didn't really EQ the guitar, so I can't really talk about this. This is extremely drastic. I don't think I'll drop it down to that extent. Again, there's another one on there. That I don't really know how to explain about that. And again, there's another one. So I take it he's got two creative EQs and one sort of corrective. Yeah. I didn't really EQ that. Right. So yeah, on the vocals. So yeah, on the vocals, so we've basically, what we've done is we've just basically dropped down the lows, obviously got rid of some of the frequencies we didn't like, and then just increased the mids just a bit. Pretty much the same with the other vocals as well. So we've just dropped down some of the frequencies we didn't like, and then yeah, pretty much the same. Yep. So yeah. So that's cool, right? Cool. So yeah, let's talk about the compression. So the compression used. So we've used the compression on, I think we use them on the claps. So the claps. So we put a compressor on that I'm not going to talk about because it's not even being used, so I could just get rid of that really. Turn that off. Let's talk about the compression on the so really the vocals. So on the vocals here we've used the Logic compressor. So we put on a sort of a fast attack, a fast release. The ratio's sort of quite low down. We put the knee up quite a bit, obviously compressor down, so it's compressing quite a bit. Really it should be on +6 if I'm honest with you. It's sort of going up to here. Actually no, probably I'll put it on +5. As to make, obviously for the makeup gain. So the second vocals, if we play, again these are quite low down, so we put it on +4, and obviously a fast attack, fast release. The third vocals, again pretty much the same, fast attack, fast release, makeup gain +4, compression threshold down to 19 or 20, and the last vocals, again pretty much the same, down to 17, obviously fast attack, fast release. So yeah, that's pretty much the compression on mainly the vocals, which was mainly used just pretty much on the vocals. So the effects used, so if we play them again, we've obviously got reverb, so I've set the bus, so this is obviously got reverb on. We can turn it off. Let's play it from the start. Sounds really plain, so you've just got some reverb. Just set it on the bus to about 11.4. Obviously the synths have got reverb on as well. We take them off, they just sound obviously very plain, so they've got reverb. They've also got delay on as well. We can take the delay off. Yeah, I mean the delay sort of helps to sort of break up the sound. The bass has got a bit of reverb on, just to give it just a bit of sort of ambience and just make it sort of sound a bit nicer. We've put gain on the bottom snare just because obviously it's just a bit quieter. The claps obviously got reverb on, and obviously we've changed around sort of where we wanted to do on the waveform. Again, mainly the channels that I've got most of the effects on is the vocal channel, so you've got reverb going on in here, and obviously chorus on this channel, and that channel, which is very famous from Feast. So that was Feast putting the chorus in, and obviously on the main vocals channel we have got I think another compressor sort of working on just for the vocals. And yeah, that's effects really. That's the effects wise. Obviously we've got the telephone that happens here, and obviously we've got a bit of delay on that as well, which is pretty nice. So yeah, they're the really sort of effects we use, mainly sort of like delay, reverb, chorus, and that's pretty much it really. So Melodyne. So let's talk about the Melodyne. So the Melodyne Molly Melodyne majority of the vocals, because she's very good at Melodyning out of all of us. We all did put an input and all did have a go.
Daddy said you wasn't worth my while. I guess he was right.
Trouble is though is what I've learnt kind of like using Melodyne is maybe sometimes obviously where Melodyne does pitch correct some stuff, it's not really in the right sort of place in a way. So basically what you have to do is sort of just like move it sort of manually and stuff, and that's sort of the best sort of way to sort of do it. But what we done is we just did it sort of to the way obviously Melodyne sort of pitch correct it. So we'll just talk about, so let's go on to automation. So automation, basically all we've done is just lower down the guitars, just quieten down, and obviously increase the guitars a bit, and that was it really. Obviously when he comes in for the solos and stuff, and yeah, that's what we've pretty much done on the automation. So cool. Right, so basically what I'm going to talk about is obviously, so that's the really sort of the end of it. So yeah, what went well. Basically, I think it's a great song to record. I think music. I think the way it's been like obviously created, and obviously written. I think the vocals are pretty good. Um, Basically, what didn't go well is recording it. We had to fix a lot of it. We had to ask Rich for some assistance, obviously, in sort of cutting some of the drums up and sort of fixing them around, fading them around, crossfades. We had to use a bit of flex as well, because the drums just went out of time, and that was just awful. I mean, that was just took us so much time to sort of fix. What could be improved? Basically, the improvements, we could melodyne it maybe better. The effects used, the delay and the reverb could be used. Basically, just I think recording as well. Like, I mean, when recording the guitars and obviously the people, it was a bit long, and certain things could be recorded again, like maybe the guitars and the vocals. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much done. Yeah.